Ramanuja deity was born first, then followed by Nammalvar deity. So you can say that Alvar himself incarnated as Swami Ramanuja. Nothing wrong in mentioning so. So Nammalvar talked about the glory of Ramanuja. Then Nathamunigal, Nammalvar bestowed the wealth of 4,000 Divya Pradhamdan to Nathamunigal. Nathamunigal was born in 823. He had by the lineage, he had the Bhavishadacharya Vigraham too. Nathamunigal got 4,000 Divya Prabandham. He had made a beautiful statement. He says, if water collects in a big reservoir, thousands and millions of people would be benefited. But if water collects in a little pot, then probably few cuckoo birds or parrot birds may be benefited. Similarly, water is Bhagavan's compassion. If Bhagavan's compassion rests in Acharya like us, then a few disciples would be benefited. But if it rests in an Acharya like Ramanuja, it is water in a reservoir where millions would stand benefited. So Nathamuni says, Kulapadile neer thenginal kurvi kudittu pom, Veeranatheriyile neer thenginal ulahame vaaldu pom. If this whole entire universe has to live, has to survive, has to be nurtured, Anaithulagum Vazhappiranda Edirasha Mamuniva, Yezhai Kirangayini, Vadi Edirashan, Vadi Edirashan, Vadi Edirashan and a Valtuvar, Vadi and a Valtuvar, Vadi and a Valtuvar, Talinail Taltuvar, Vinnor Thalai. So Nathamuni himself reveals the greatness of Swami Ramanuja. Then on Nathamuni, Uyyakondar, Manakkal Nambihal, Alavandar. It was Alavandar who spotted, who picked, who chose Swami Ramanuja to become the next head of Shiva Vaishnava Sampradaya. Ramanuja was undergoing, he was studying under Yadava Prakasha at Kanchi. Alavandar visits. Tirukachinambihal was a very ardent disciple of Alavandar. Guided by Tirukachinambihal, Alavandar had darshan of Deva Perumal, then reached down, climbed down the hills. The hill is Hastigiri. Hastigiri, the hills, Alavandar came down. A Sannadhi by name Kariyamanikka Perumal Sannadhi. The Perumal Sannadhi is Kariyamanikka Perumal Sannadhi. Alavandar, guided by Tirukachinambihal, came by the way of Kariyamanikka Perumal Sannadhi, saw a group of people having darshan. That group was led by Yadava Prakasha, and his intuition told him that somewhere Ramanuja must be in this group. They had no parichayam earlier. They were not introduced earlier. He was not called Ramanuja even. He was only called as Ilayalvar. His initial name was Ilayalvar. So Alavandar asks Tirukachinambihal, can you show me who Ilayalvar is in this group? Tirukachinambihal showed, here is that great handsome personality with a big tuft and a beautiful Karunai Purindidu Kamalakannadagam, with a lot of compassion in his eyes, with broad shoulders, with thin waist, and with the promise, the resolution to complete this, to the resolution to mend the ways of people. And he is Ilayalvar. When Alavandar looked at Ilayalvar, he pleased to Kanchi Devaraja and blesses with his cool glances, Amudhalvan Ivanennu Tattetti. He would be the first and foremost hereafter. Amudalvan, Mudalvanam. From hereafter, he would be the Mudalvan. From then on, Ramanuja did not stop. He went ahead to become the Jagadacharya. He was acclaimed. He had 700 sannyasi disciples. He had 12,000 Grihastha disciples. He had countless women as disciples. Anaithulagam Vazhappiranda Edirasha Mamunivar was spotted by Alavandar himself. Next, Periyanambihal. Periyanambihal was the direct Acharya of Swami Ramanuja. You will find this story was so great in the life and history of Swami Ramanuja. Ramanuja and Periyanambihal were living in Srirangam. Ramanuja was a sannyasi then. Alavandar had departed. Alavandar was also a sannyasi. The Acharya of Periyanambihal, Mahapurna, on a particular auspicious day, Periyanambihal was walking through the Vithi of Srirangam. He saw Ramanuja coming with his disciples. For a moment, he thought that this was Alavandar himself. He did not think this was his disciple Ramanuja. Instead, Ramanuja looked to him as glorious and brilliant as his Acharya Alavandar. So he stopped unknowingly, all people, to the shock of everyone. Suddenly, Periyanambihal prostrated. He fell on the feet of Ramanuja and said, Adiyendasan. Ramanuja did not respond. He neither accepted the prostration nor reciprocate with a prostration. He did not do. He left. The disciples were shocked. Oh, Periyanambi, why did you offer your salutations? Ramanuja is your disciple. Periyanambi said, for a moment I thought, as Ramanuja was the next qualified Acharya, I thought he was Alavandar himself. To me, he looked like Alavandar. Yes, he is Alavandar. So Periyanambigal himself called Ramanuja as the next well-equipped Ramanuja, Acharya, Alavandar. This was also a revelation. Then next, we have to conclude now. We don't have much time left. I have talked about Periyanambigal, Alavandar, then Tirukkottiyur Nambigal and Tirumalayandan. Together they revealed the secret behind the incarnation of Swami Ramanuja. Tirukkottiyur Nambigal was at Tirukkottiyur, a place about 60-70 kilometers from Srirangam. He had to bless Ramanuja with a mantra, with Tirumantram and Charamashlokam. That was the treasure left to him to be handed over to Ramanuja by Alavandar. Tirukkottiyur Nambigal, Periya Tirumala Nambigal, Tirumala and Periya Nambigal, Alvar Tiruvaranga Perumalarayar, Tirumalayandan, all five were the disciples of Alavandar and the Acharyas of Swami Ramanuja. Panchacharya Padashritaha. Pancha Acharya Pada Ashrita is Ramanuja. We are going to talk about Tirukkottiyur Nambigal. Ramanuja walked again and again to Tirukkottiyur, requesting Tirukkottiyur Nambigal to bless him with Tirumantram and Charamashlokam. Not once or twice. He tried for 17 times, but Tirukkottiyur Nambigal did not worry. He was unconcerned. He was so indifferent. He sent back Ramanuja 17 times. Finally, he took pity on Ramanuja and preached the mantram, Tirumantram and Charamashlokam. But be very careful. As I have put you to a very hard test, you must also put your disciples through a strenuous process. It must be a good entrance process. Entrance exam, unda, kadayada, it must be a very strenuous entrance exam. Without that, you cannot share this great wealth. Mantram yatnena gopayet. Thus told by Tirukkottiyur Nambigal. Ramanuja nodded at her. Yes, if you made me walk for 18 times, I will ensure 36 times. Cholita. But nothing happened. When Tirukkottiyur Nambigal left to his Tirumaligai, Ramanuja climbed, went near the Ashtanga Vimanam, prostrated to Narahanashan Tirukkottiyur Perumal, called for the Antaranga people who were close by, called for them and shared with the great wealth of Tirumantram and Charamashlokam. Tirukkottiyur Nambigal came to know of the news. He was shocked. I had told you not to reveal this to anyone. How dare you do? He came rushing, questioned Ramanuja. Do you know that you will only go to Narakam for violating the order of your Acharya? Ramanuja said, of course I know. I will only go to Rauravadi Narakam. But if me alone has to sacrifice going to Narakam, and for that sacrifice, so many people will reach Vaikuntham, I would happily agree to go to Narakam. Adu sonna udane, he immediately hugged, he embraced Swami Ramanuja and named him Em Perumanar. We all know of Bhagavan as Emperuman. From today, you will be Emperumanar, the one who surpassed an Acharya, the disciple who went past an Acharya and established Ashayudayorkellam Ariyarkal Kurum. Before Ramanuja, the Acharyas were Anuvritti Prasannacharya. You will have to do a lot to please them. It's strenuous. Whereas from Ramanuja, he changed the system. He made all us Kripamatra Prasannacharya. It is easy to please them, and their only cause for gracing is their kripa, is their compassion. They never put us to difficult tests. Instead, it is kripa. Swami, this person has written driving test for 10 times. At least for that sake, let me give. If it is 4th or 5th time, then please don't appear. அதுதான் சொல்லுவாங்க இப்போ. அப்படி இல்லை Swami. Even for the first time, let me grace you. Let me take pity on you. So Tirukkottiyur Nambigal named Ramanuja as Emperumanar. Again he revealed the greatness of Ramanuja. One last hagiology. Tirumalayandan was preaching Tiruvayamozhi to Swami Ramanuja. A Pashuram came by. Ramanuja had a new interpretation. All the interpretations by Tirumalayandan was what he has heard from Alavandar. Alavandar had taught them Tiruvayamozhi. Now they share whatever they have listened to Alavandar with Ramanuja. But in Hariya Kalathulle Adimakkan Anbu Seivithu Ariyamamayatadiyena Vaittayal Nilam Mavadi Movadi Hariya Kalathulle. The interpretation was Tirumalayandan was not very interesting. So Ramanuja looked disappointed. So he did not look up. In fact, his head was hung down. அப்படி இருந்ததுனாலே கொஞ்சம் கேட்கறது சுமார்னு அர்த்தம். நீங்களாம் நல்லா சிரிச்சுலாம் கேட்டீங்கன்னா சரி சொல்றவர் ஒழுங்கா சொல்றாரு. அப்படி இல்லை கொஞ்சம் இப்படி பார்ப்பேன்னா சரி இல்லை டைமை பார்த்தாலே போச்சுன்னு அர்த்தம். அப்படின்னாலே சிவா ஒருத்தருக்கும் பிடிக்கவே போல் இருக்கு இப்போ. ஸோ ராமானுஜா was not very happy with that interpretation. Tirumalayandan questions him, do you have any better interpretation? Yes, Ramanuja said, but somehow that was not to the liking of Tirumalayandan. He was in fact irritated. After he was irritated, he closed the book. He said, since you are talking, you are violating Alavanda's interpretations. I would not continue with Kalakshepam anymore. So he closed the text. Knowing this, Tirukottiyu Nambigal visited Srirangam and asked Tirumalayandan, we have been told by our Acharya to share this wealth of Thiruvayamozhi and Rahasyam with Ramanuja. Why did you stop? But Tirumalayandan replied, I didn't want to stop, but the problem is he talks too much. He talks too much and this is not the interpretation that we have listened from our Acharya. Tirukottiyu Nambigal said, probably you did not attend the discourse on that day. I have listened to this interpretation from Alavandar. Please note that whatever Ramanuja says, it would have been in the mind of Alavandar. Probably he would not have shared it with us. Certainly he would have shared it mentally through to Ramanuja. Will that happen? Tirumalayandan asked, will that happen? We are the direct disciples. You think that you are the disciple of Alavandar and Acharya of Ramanuja. Can I tell you how this looks like? It is like Dasharatha really believing that he is the father of Rama. It is like Vasudeva really thinking that he is the father of, like Vasudeva, the father of Krishna. Will it happen? It was Krishna who chose Vasudeva to be his father. It was Rama who chose Dasaratha to be his father. And similarly, it is Ramanuja who had chosen we too to be his Acharya. Not that we are teaching something unknown to him. We don't do Ajnata Jnapanam. It is not known to him and we don't teach him afresh. He knows everything. We are only brushing up. For the sake of maintaining the decorum of Acharya-Shishya relationship, we are made an Acharya to Ramanuja. Even without us, Ramanuja would know all as he has been directly blessed by Swami Nammalvar. Mara Nadipanindu Indavar. Thus, all the Acharyas before Ramanuja, Bhagavans before Ramanuja have revealed the glory Punyam Bhoja Vikasaya, Papadvanta Kshayaya cha, Shiman Abhirabhut Bhumau, Ramanuja Divakaraha, Shiman Mahabhutapure, Shimat Keshava Yajjanaha, Kantimatyam Prasutaya, Yatirajaya Mangalam. It is our bounden and duty to reach the lotus feet of Ramanuja, reach the 74 Simhasanadhipatis, the great effective system established by Ramanuja, get Pancha Samskaram done, and through him, with the recommendation of Ramanuja, to reach Sri Vaikuntham. This is the method established. If someone of you have not had it till now, I recommend that you approach an Acharya. Without an Acharya, mantrams cannot be got. You cannot be initiated with a mantram. Without a mantram, you can't reach God. Mantra, God resides in a mantram. Without mantram, mantram is Tirumandiram, Kulandarun, Shelvandandidum, Adiyar Padutuyar Ayanavellam, Nilandarum Shayam, Nilvishimbarulum, Aruludu Pirunilamalikum, Betathayanam Ayana Shayam, Nalandarum Shollan Ankanduhunde, Narayana Venum Namam. How do we get that mantram? Through one Acharya. So I request all of you to approach an Acharya if you are not done already. Get Pancha Samskaram done. Be blessed with Swami Ramanuja. With this recommendation, a little chit palm leaf. With a little recommendation, if you approach Tiruvengadamudayan, we are sure of a birth in Sri Vaikuntham. With these words, let me conclude this lecture on the glories of Swami Ramanuja. Illarma, Sriman Narayana G. Swami, Tridandi, Srimad Paramahamsa Adyadi, Srimad Vedamarga Pradishthapanacharya, Ubhe Vedanta Acharyarai, Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharyarai Irundurulirukkum, Tridandi, Sriman Narayana G. Swami, அவருடைய ஆசிரமத்தில் இதெல்லாம் ஆதரவோடு ஏற்பாடு பண்ணி ராமானுஜ விஷயமா சொல்லுன்னு சொன்னதுக்கு முதல்ல அந்த ஜிஎஸ் சுவாமியினுடைய திருவடிகளுக்கு பல்லாண்டு பல்லாண்டு பல்லாண்டு. இங்க இருக்கும் கைங்கரவர்கள் நிர்வாகஸ்தர்கள் அனைவருக்கும் பல்லாண்டு பாடிக்கொண்டு செங்கன் திருமுகத்து செல்வ திருமாலால் எங்கும் திருவருள் பெற்று இன்புருவர் ராமானுஜருடைய திருவடிகளே சரணம். அடியேன் ராமானுஜ தாசன். ஸ்ரீமதே ராமானுஜாய நமஹ. உய்ய ஒரே வழி உடையவர் திருவடி அனைத்துலகும் வாழப் பிறந்த எதிராச மாமுனிவார் ஏழைக்கிறங்காயினி என்று சொல்லிக்கொண்டு அமைகிறேன்.